Hey guys, first regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about a fencing power sword build for the Bulwark class in patch 8.1 of Space Marine 2. Now the fencing power sword is what I think is the overall best fencing weapon in the game, and definitely the best power sword, especially since the parry bonus for block weapons is currently broken, very strong stat spread, and the way I have chosen the perk tree setup today is first we go into armored strength. If you have armor remaining, melee damage increases by 10%. Since we are a Bulwark, it is very easy to maintain armor, and this buff is up for like 90% of the game, a very strong perk. Then we move over into Master of Offense. After switching sword combat style, you deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 10 seconds. Now, switching your combat style is not as good as it used to be, mainly because you can no longer do like a lunging attack immediately out of your dodge stance switch, which is unfortunate, but this is still a very strong perk, and 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds is still pretty good, even though the cooldown is quite long. Now, next perk here is pretty standard, melee damage plus melee damage, perpetual strength. Then we move over into Tranquility. While in power roll stance, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. And all the power roll is when like you do a light attack and you have like a delayed hit, and then you hit your light attack again, and you'll do your power roll. So this only functions during that, unfortunately, not like your power stance. Next perk here is melee onslaught, pretty standard, just a straight 10% more melee damage. Honestly, Saber needs to buff some of these perks, like rework them to be more interesting, because like flat melee damage buffs are just stupid in games in my opinion. Next perk here is hard target. While performing a light combo, you take 15% less range damage. This is actually a really good weapon to like combo with, so pretty strong perk here actually. Next perk here is pretty much mandatory, cutting edge. Power rake deals 50% more damage. They did buff the power rake a while back. This also works with perks like overcharge. Really strong effect, really strong option to deal damage on this weapon despite it being a fencing weapon. Very powerful perk for that reason. Next perk we have here is Extremis Slayer, pretty standard, just more Extremis damage. Then we go up to Majoris Slayer, more Majoris damage, and Terminus Slayer, more Terminus damage. I do not pick up my Norris Slayer here, mainly because my Norris enemies, they don't really hit any breakpoints, unlike the fencing weapon here, so it doesn't really do anything for us. So instead I take Power Restoration. If you don't want to take Power Restoration, you could take Speed Restoration. That's really up to you. Now for our secondary weapon selection, I have chosen a heavy bolt pistol here, mainly because I'm going to a true solo operation, and not having a heavy bolt pistol for things like a Neurothrope or Zoanthrope can be very annoying on the Bulwark class, which is why I decided to take this one. Now as far as the perk tree setup, it's pretty standard, just go all the way down the top tree, and then I take magazine capacity, mainly because having an increased ammo reserve for this weapon is very important, especially when we're a Bulwark and it's our only ranged option, so that's pretty much my reasoning for that. Now if you are playing siege mode, I will say taking a plasma pistol is better overall, because things like Neurothropes and the Zoanthropes are less problematic there, because usually you have a teammate and usually you're going to be fighting them while they're landed more often. But for the actual operations, I would just take a heavy bolt pistol, because this thing is overall better. And really, the Bulwark is a class that doesn't struggle with contested health recovery remotely as much as an assault does, so the heavy bolt pistol is a really good option for him overall. Now for the perk tree, I do have some weird choices here that we'll get into, but number one, we have Intimidating Aura. A perfectly timed parry deals area of effect damage within a 5-meter radius. Cooldown is 5 seconds. This perk is incredibly powerful with both block and fencing weapons. Even though the description does not say it works on a perfect block, it does in patch 8.0, but either way, since we're using a fencing weapon, this allows us to one parry gun strike combo any Majoris into an execute state. Very strong perk combo, very powerful ability in general, which is why you pick it today. Though if you are like struggling with damage resistance and things like that, you could take Conviction, but overall Intimidating Aura, especially for operations, is very powerful. Next perk here is Shock and Awe. Enemies in a shock area take 25% more damage. Now I am going to be building like full shock damage here just for like the memes, but if you are going for like a full meta comp, I would not take this. I would take Scramble Targeting, because your damage reduction on this build setup here, it's not going to be that high outside like your 30% increased HP, but I just want to build around defensive advantage today, even though it's not like the strongest perk. But if you're playing like siege mode, I would go for like Scramble Targeting, Seal Within, or Armor Reinforcement. That's really up to you, but that's what I built today. Next perk here is Defensive Advantage. A perfectly timed parry or block creates a shock area for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Now I do like this perk, I just think it needs a buff. Like 5 seconds is not a very long uptime, and a 30-second cooldown is super long. And these other two perks here with Steel Within and Armor Reinforcement are just way better, because half the time the enemies actually get out of your, like, you'll parry the guy you're trying to shock out of the shock area, and this has such a damn long cooldown that there's very few moments where it really comes into like a full clutch situation, and Steel Within and Armor Reinforcement are like the two best survivability ability perks of this entire tree. So, you know, defensive advantage, pretty fun for this build, but definitely not like the best pick for sure. As for my actual team perk selection here, focus restoration. Every 30 seconds, all squad members automatically restore 1 armor segment. I actually undervalued this perk for a very, very long time. This perk is so valuable. Armor in this game has damage caps versus enemies where health does not, especially on like the highest waves of siege mode where the enemies have such a fat damage boost and the damage caps from armor remain the same. Your armor actually becomes way more valuable than HP, so focus restoration, super S tier. It also comes out to like 90 armor boost for every single individual squad member over the course of like a 3-hour siege game, which is like 5,000 requisition points. Absurd value generation here, and really just an S tier perk for sure. Pretty much always take this if you're like running a meta team comp, and really this perk is just incredible, period. Next perk down here, advanced conditioning, still pretty strong. This one is definitely an A tier pick for sure, but this one's just better. And the next perk here, effective formation, all squad members take 20% less health damage from extremis and terminus level enemies. This one is actually better than it looks because directed damage resist versus like an enemy type is actually calculated a little bit differently, I believe, than the flat damage reduction is. Flat damage reduction is still very strong, but this one's actually just better because of that. And extremis and terminus level enemies are like 99% of what nukes your HP. Things like soul cannon terminators, melee terminators, and like the hellbrew cannons and AOEs, very strong for that reason, especially when you stack it with like other damage resists like Steel Within and Conviction here. But overall, effective formation and advanced conditioning are just worse than focus restoration. Now, next perk here is purity of purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies within its area of effect. Absolutely phenomenal perk. This one is like a free shock grenade at your banner, and you are planting your banner like the most dangerous situation all the time. Very easy, just wipe out whole hordes with this, wipe out Majora's packs, Extremis packs, and Minoris entirely, and do significant damage to bosses. Very good pick for sure. Next perk here is Glory's Shield. All squad members within the banner's area of effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. A 20% longer banner means more value from your purity of purpose here, and the 20% less damage is also very, very strong. Obviously, Invigorating Icon is a better perk overall, but I'm playing this in Operations today, so Glory's Shield is pretty strong there regardless. And also, if you're playing Siege mode and you have like a Vanguard with the healing perk on your team, it doesn't really matter at all if you don't have Invigorating Icon, so Glory's Shield is still a strong pick for sure. Now, next perk I take is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash or Thunderhammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%. You do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Now, a Shield Bash trigger only requires you to just do a Shield Bash. You don't actually have to hit anything, so it's pretty much free to pull off for a 15% melee damage buff and no knockback. And since I'm not taking Armored Advance here, and I'm taking Emergency Countermeasures instead for the Shock and Awe defensive advantage combo, I will be taking Merciless Resolve today. Now, Rejuvenating Effect is also very strong, so if you want to like skip emergency countermeasures, just go for like Armored Advance with this perk. You definitely could, because in Siege mode especially, there are times where getting up your teammates is very, very difficult, and this will allow you to do that instead. But overall, Merciless Resolve, very strong for this build. And Emergency Countermeasures, this one just detonates a shock grenade at your location whenever your armor is depleted, and has a cooldown of 90 seconds. And you know, having a shock grenade basically drop like you're a squid inking is really powerful. And even though a 90-second cooldown is pretty long, shock nades are very strong in this game anyways, so very strong option for sure. Now, for the prestige perks, you do have some choices here. I decided to take Auxiliary Reload today. Melee kills of Extremis level or higher enemies restore secondary weapons ammo by 1 magazine. This perk is definitely better in Siege mode than it is Operations, because there are just way more Extremis in Siege mode. And Operations, you have a lot of ammo regardless, but I don't really feel like swapping them out for like Resilience or something here, because I'm too lazy to spend 750 points every single time I want to swap out one perk, especially when this perk is pretty good on Operations anyways. Though if you are playing just Operations, you could take Resilience, Medicae Stims, restore 40% more health. This perk is also very, very powerful. I was just too lazy to swap them out. But Overcharge here is the next perk. Charge attack damage increases by 20%. This perk does work with the Power Rake attack for your Power Sword, even though like it doesn't really seem like it would. It's actually been looked up in the game files. This does trigger the bonus damage off a Power Rake. Very strong for that reason. Pretty much always take this if you have a Power Sword. Then I move down here into Powerful Shot. Range damage increases by 20%. Very strong perk, very boring effect. Both of these are pretty boring, to be honest, because it's just like a flat damage increase. But hey, you know, strong effects are still strong effects. So Powerful Shot is something we take here. Then I move over into Masterful Defense. Ability to charge restored by 1% for every blocked range attack. This is an amazing perk. If you have a shield combo with like no Thunderhammer on the Bulwark period, always take this. CDR, wherever you can find it in Space Marine 2, is incredibly valuable. S tier perk for that reason, and that's why we take it here today. So Auxiliary Reload, Resilience, Overcharge, Powerful Shot, Masterful Defense. Those are the options I would take for sure. sure, and these other two aren't very good. That is all there is for the Fencing Power Sword build setup here. I do want to mention one more time before I get into the gameplay that if you are playing Siege mode, I would just take Seal Within or Armor Reinforcement on top of Scramble Targeting, because Shock and Awe and Defensive Advantage are pretty goofy, and your tankiness is severely lacking with these two perks selected, so really I would just take these because they are far better, and maybe even Conviction on top of it, because this perk is also S tier, because the highest waves of Siege, you really do need to be severely tanky, and unfortunately, Shock and Awe and Defensive Advantage don't remotely get you there, and like 90% of your tankiness will come from Focus Restoration, and your 30% increased starting health with this build setup, so that's like the main downside, but you know, it is still pretty fun. Anyways, guys, that's all I have to say for this one. Thanks for watching, and here's the actual gameplay. Alright, here we are in game with the Fencing Power Sword build, and I'm a big fan of the Fencing Power Sword because of its stat spread, though I will say, guys, in patch 9.0, I hope they buff the fencing weapons, at least their stat spreads, because as the game currently stands, gun strikes are pretty strong, but they are by no means OP, and giving up block charges is already enough of DPS loss, in my opinion, that just changing the stat spread to be more equivalent to block weapons on the fencing ones would be totally fine, because you're already losing out on those adrenaline surge charges. And we can already see here that the Fencing Power Sword has a pretty similar stat spread to a blocking weapon. It's by no means OP. It's just fun to use. We'll see what they actually do. But it is Saber, so I imagine they won't do jack. Alright, tunnel range, guys. Give me the triple sniper spawn. This is one of the most toxic spawns on launch of this game.
Where shall I plant this flag? Inserting rounds. Fresh cut. You failed at both.
Alright, let's push on through. Shock nades. Now, do I actually want those? I do have buffs for them here. Multi-bombs are strong, but with this build in particular, shock is quite powerful. I would like it if defensive advantage had a like 15-second cooldown instead of 30. It doesn't last that long. It's only 5 seconds. Either lower the cooldown or buff the actual time the AoE's down. Because, you know, guys, patch 9.0 is supposed to be the big balance buff. Or like the big balance patch. So if they don't actually fix anything, we're going to be in for a real treat of sorts. By treat, I mean I'm probably just going to complain about it. It'll be a real complaint fest, but honestly, if we're getting no new content in the new update, the balance changes need to be well thought out. Put it that way. That's the sole purpose of this new update coming out. And people have been dying for some buffs for a while. Cop Salt. We'll see what they do. But we might go through the bramble land here.
Fresh magazine.
I guess so. Heavy bolt pistol for operations feels pretty good. It's only in siege mode, like the AOE gunstrike lack. Kind of sucks. But I just prefer this thing in case I run into a Zoanthrope or a Neurothrope, because if we don't have like a Thunder Hammer even, or a Power Fist, punching Zoanthropes and things like that, impossible.
Ready to deploy. Rally point reached, Lord Akaran.
The Munitorum does not store explosives to Codex Astartes standards. Locate enough to demolish the bridge.
Apparently 3 placements, that's not too bad. I'm pretty sure you can get a Carnifex in the spot for a Neurothrope.
For the Imperium. Primed explosives. This support is ready for demolition.
Okay, here's the Horde coming.
Reload. Our boat shall bellow the stone boat death. That one is calling reserve force.
Triple. This is why I'm glad I brought the heavy bolt pistol.
Fresh magazine.
I'll do this for the damage reduction here.
Explosives to place matters.
He's the one that's not linked, so. Ow, ow, I should put my unblockable there. On my unblockable, my knockback resist. Doesn't happen.
We found it last. I still have explosives to place, brothers.
Oh, there we go.
Fresh cartridge.
I forgot to apply my shield bash buff, so we got a little comboed, but that's okay. Let's go over here and plant this. Last one.
Charge is wired. We are ready to ambush the target command.
The Hive Tyrant will reach your position shortly. Join the Imperial Guard defenses up on the bridge and lure that Xenos Colossus into the kill zone.
Reload. This galaxy is not yours to devour.
Let's see what we got in here.
Releasing shockwave.
I'll apply a double one if I can. There we go.
Our banner awaits unfurled.
Then all the AoEs. Just for these.
Deny them any advantage. Fresh cartridge.
Right, come in, come get it. Or just die, that works too.
Skittle to the grave.
thing about sword warriors, they're kind of like polite enough to let you actually kill them. Let me grab my crack grenades here. These things are actually really good at wiping out neurothropes too. They still do a pretty massive chunk to them, just like zone thropes. And for us, it's a big deal, because if you're a class that doesn't have some serious range burst, you're not doing shit to them. There we go. Well, this guy is setting up a wall of bramble for me.
There is no going back, brothers.
I swear to God, this game loves to just send zone thropes at you, or like neurothropes when it knows you're a melee class like this, only has a secondary. Because I see zone thropes way more often when I play like Bulwark or Assault than I do when I play like a tactical or something. Especially like a stalker bolt rifle. Maybe it's just like my delusion, but it definitely feels like the game picks and chooses like what's going to be hard for your class.
Astartes! We were not expecting such illustrious company in the rear ranks.
Another relic, interesting.
We've got a handle on these probing strikes, my lords. It's the relay that's getting hammered right now.
The leader beast will cross that bridge, and in short order, die to our tactics.
That's news.
Without armor support to tackle a target that big, we may have to bring down the supply bridge.
All elements needed are prepared.
Is this a withdrawal order? Negative. The objective is the Hive Tyrant, not the bridge. Defend this position until the Tyranid command unit is executed.
Now, our weapon doesn't do a ton of damage to the Hive Tyrant, but it's still pretty good. It's alright. Intimidating Aura kind of carries us, though, in the boss fights in this game. There was like a very short period of time in this game where Intimidating Aura no longer applied on the actual bosses, but they fixed that. They will also allegedly be fixing the block parry buff in patch 9.0 that they broke in the PTS and then refused to fix, even though it got reported day one. And now we have to wait an entire like month plus to get it. But you know, that's just the Saber interactive workflow. That's how it is. Every patch something gets absolutely shattered, and then they spend a month to fix it. Will they fix the AOE on block weapons? That's the question.
Failed that order. Enemies on our position. Fresh magazine.
Keep your eyes peeled. The Xenos near the beast will be in visual range shortly.
fight the grip of man. This galaxy is not born to the power of high beast. Do not be deterred by its awesome size.
I've never seen such an
Alright, let's bomb this guy, grab our crack grenades we left over there,
Hive beast a moment.
and then grab the ammo.
Detonate the
We're probably gonna get a
charges
boss in this tunnel. It's not a guarantee, but on decapitation I usually do get one.
The Imperial revives. Redetonation complete. This is Talassa. The ambush was a success.
This is probably just gonna be a armor boost. I guess I'll take that. Free armor is free armor. Probably gonna get jumped by extremists right down this elevator again, as is tradition on this map.
The swarm would go feral without their connection
Anything
to
else
the
over
hive
here?
mind.
Like, what would this even give me? Let's see. Ammo. Okay.
Reports confirm the lieutenant's assessment. Enemy cohesion is still in full effect. That beast is not yet dead.
We hear you, Command. It will be done.
We can hold this position, Lords. We'll keep the swarm off your backs while you hunt that thing.
The target is still struggling under that wreckage.
Okay. What is next?
Fresh cartridge.
Right, boss spawn. I find the Neurothrop likes to spawn down the tunnels, but here you can get a Carnifex more often. Alright, I guess not. We're in a pretty strong spot. That'd be very hard to actually kill us. So we have a relic and 2 stims. Push on through here.
Command, target is alive.
This spot, I might pull all the way back here if I can, because fighting them in the tunnels here sucks. That wave, it's not too bad as a Bulwark with a fencing weapon and intimidating aura, but on some of the other classes, like Tactical, you really don't want to be fighting them in like this super tight corridor, because if you get a Neurothrop pulled into this tunnel right here, and he decides to do some shenanigans to you, it'll be a real pain in the ass. It's basically just a giant line of enemies at that point. Yep, there it is. Okay.
Those hunters storm sights. There is no stable ground.
You got an Extremis spawn and a boss spawn all at the same time. Pretty good place for our build, though. That's for sure. I got a Zone Corp too. Oh no, he just popped in the. Alright. I see the game we're playing here.
Fresh magazine. Tyranny Panna destroyed.
Now we did get a lot of value out of our shocks there. Alright, he's gonna wave. Okay, the scream, here it comes. Oh god. You can actually perfect dodge like a 1 tick of that hit, but it's so fast that it's kind of hard to do it on a follow-up.
You failed that ultra.
I can't block those. I was curious.
Inserting rounds.
Well, he brought the bolt pistol.
Ready to deploy.
I'm just worried about playing him going too far back here because... Yeah, because of that.
Crush the ravenous brood. Fresh cartridge.
Oh, this is brutal.
Restoring vitality.
Now, it unfortunately decided to range spam us, which is kind of irritating with these Bramble guys. Bramble guys in that corner especially.
Fresh magazine.
If I can pull them out here, I'm okay with that. I couldn't even see that one, he just vanished on me. I want to pull him over here now.
Inserting rounds. That silence the tyranny.
He's waving.
Still subjected.
So they can't actually shoot in here.
Crack grenade in here.
Did you get him?
Tyranny
There we go.
dispatched and dismantled.
Getting range spam in this one corridor is quite obnoxious, but what are you gonna do? Plus we have like no damage reduction on this build. All of our damage reduction pretty much comes from the Glorious Shield banner. And our 30% increased HP. This makes our effective HP very high. If you had like Conviction, Seal Within, Scramble Targeting, it would definitely be a lot easier to just sit there and shoot back, but they're giving up a lot of damage. We're kind of building for the shock this time, so.
Inserting rounds.
The Hive Tyrant's gonna be way easier than that, because the Hive Tyrant will send less bullshit at us for sure. It's kind of funny, like the normal boss fights now just send so many ads at times, and they also compile with the, they pile up on Hordes at times. Like, as you saw at the beginning of that fight, we had an Extremis spawn, and then we got the boss spawn from, like, triggering the walk forward, so.
Lieutenant.
3 Extremis plus boss, pretty brutal. Just for one person.
Our Fox link is out. We must be nearing the relay. Our duty remains unchanged. Forward. The Xenos leader bescales the building. Take to the roof. Our banner awaits our
Right
third.
here. And move on up.
Keep going forward.
Still have relics, so if like we catastrophically fuck up versus this guy, shouldn't be that bad.
Encircle and eliminate.
I thought that was being a variable attack for a second. Look at those. Our sword power rate definitely does a good amount of damage. Alright, where's the Alright, warriors. I'll just put down a shield for that.
Is undergoing some kind of transformation.
Probably be a sim, yeah. Alright.
I feel probing our minds. Steal your thoughts.
That is such parry fodder. That's that. Yeah, Hive Tyrant is so susceptible to parries. The Trigon will not get staggered by parries, although I hope like whatever bosses they add in the future, if they add more, they follow that trend, because having like an infinite stagger fest on the boss, a little strong. A little OP, but that's okay. Also, the parry buff on top of your power rake is very, very strong with the Fencing Power Sword. This is why I would say it is the overall best variant of this weapon, at least until the block one's buffed for that reason. Alright guys, that is the Power Sword Bulwark Fencing Shock build. I will say if you're playing in Siege mode, you probably do want to take Scramble Targeting and like Armor Reinforcement or Steel Within. Those are both very good picks. Because you do wind up needing the damage reduction a lot more than the little shock buff. Let's see the stats there. What we get? 13 Extremis. That's kind of like mediocre for this mission. Still fun though, about 40,000 damage total. Alright guys, that's about all there is for this one. Thanks for watching. If you like content like this, subscribe for more. Peace.